Joining me on the stage to talk about Remnant from the Ashes. In that trailer, we got the chance to see so much new gameplay footage and new environments. Let's welcome the CEO of Gunfire Games, David Adams. So David, I want to ask right away, for those who are unfamiliar with Remnant from the Ashes, what kind of game is it?
So Remnant's a co-op action shooter set on an apocalyptic Earth and across a bunch of cool fantasy worlds.
And I mean, in that trailer, we got the chance to see a huge variety of different environments. Like, what are these different places? Who's the player in this story?
So as a player, you're on sort of an Odyssey-like quest to save the world, and we really wanted to have a bunch of different cool locales that you go to just to experience a bunch of different stuff. And you start on Earth, but it rapidly changes very quickly as you get into the game.
And one thing that we've talked about before is that replayability is a huge focus of the game, that you could play through it 10 times and still be seeing new bosses, new monsters, new locations. How exactly does that work?
Yeah, I think one of the coolest features of the game is the dynamic generation system. So we generate the maps, the enemies, the quests, NPCs, bosses, everything.
You've built those all by hand, right?
Yeah, it's all hand scripted, but the system takes all the pieces and stitches it together. So you might play the game and come into work and say, hey, I talked to a giant tree and fought a dragon boss, and I'll be like, I met a guy in a helicopter, an old guy in a helicopter, and killed a tree ant. And we'd have completely different experiences playing the same game.
And you just have to keep going through and eventually explore what all the possibilities are.
Yeah, you can play the game over and over again to see the stuff. You can jump into your friend's world to experience the content in their world, and that's a big part of the game, just jumping in and seeing what you get.
Well, I want to ask about loot, which is, I understand, a big part of the game. How does it function alongside this ever-shifting gameplay experience?
Yeah, the loot in the game is all legendary items, and it's tied into the dynamic generation. So if you fight a boss or meet an NPC or get a cool, unique side quest, it generally coincides with a cool, unique item. It might be a boss weapon or a magical item or armor. So if you play the game and you get all completely different events, you'll have different equipment than I have.
And in the trailer, I also saw that there were 3 people walking through these, and you mentioned the co-op experience. How does co-op function in the world?
So the game's full co-op from beginning to end. You can jump in at any point, and the game's definitely slower paced, more difficult. I mean, you will die a lot in this game, so
awesome.
There's a huge advantage to bringing your friends to come in there and help you take down bosses or fight off different events or just generally progress through the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a big fan of Bloodborne and Dark Souls, I'm really looking forward to Remnant from the Ashes. What's the release date, and where can people go for more information?
So Remnant's coming out August 20th on
awesome.
PC and Xbox and PS4, and if you pre-order the game now, you can actually get in early and start playing the game August 16th.
Well, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, David Adams from Gunfire Games. Thanks so much for talking to us about Remnant.